Hey Cougs, welcome back to another Cougar Spotlight, here with a personal hero of mine from younger, a really special guest, Carl Lewis. How are you doing today?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
It's a good time of year, beautiful weather.
Yes, track season.
Yes, track season again, outdoor, the real track, because
Yes,
we
sir.
have an indoor season as well, but I'm not really in tune to that. I always say I've been to 10 Olympics, I've never seen a 60 medal, so we're in the real season now.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. You know, everybody knows about Carl Lewis, who he is, the fame, the stardom, but who were you before the fame and glory?
Oh my God. I was the absolute opposite. Growing up, I was a very late bloomer in a family of overachievers. My older brother was a professional soccer player. My younger brother, one older than him, was like state level track star. And of course, my younger sister, Carol, was one of the best in the country from the time she started, 8 or 9 years old. So I was an underachiever in the beginning, and not from a physical effort-wise, but just physically. So I tell a lot of people now, even when I was 15, 16, I was only about 5'5", weighed about 120 pounds. But fortunately, I had wonderful parents that motivated me, lied to me that I'd be good one day. All the things that they do to inspire you. And both my parents were coaches and teachers, so I was around them all the time. So it was really interesting. And if you go back to my hometown and ask kind of the OGs and the old timers, what was it like? It's like, I never knew that would be that guy.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing you'd get.
Yeah, you grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, with obviously a lot of really cool people. I know your parents had a lot of personal connections with people like Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. I just wanted to ask you, what did growing up and seeing that and being in that environment instill?
Well, we moved when I was 2 to New Jersey. And so what was interesting is that when we moved from New Jersey, from the civil rights, right in Birmingham was the middle of all the explosion where Dr. King and the little girls being bombed and all these things were happening. We moved to New Jersey, which was also previously a segregated town. And so our growing up through that whole process was our dinner table talk, civil rights, doing what you think is right, being powerful, strong black men, watching my 2 parents, absolutely fabulous parents. My mother and father were very strong. My mother was a very strong, independent black woman who respected her husband. My father was the exact same thing. I couldn't have come up in a better setting. And so we were always taught to be very strong, do what we believed in. Sometimes you're going to take a hit for it, but you have to do that. And if you do, and you do the right thing, then you'll have someone to fall back on, which was them and everyone else. But if you went out of line, they're going to be the first person to go upside your head. And that was a great way to learn. You learn to be strong and do the right thing. But when you're not, then allow yourself to be held accountable.
Gotcha. Yeah, and doing the right thing. I know that's something really, you just said that your mother was a strong, independent black woman, did a lot for the, track and field and representation in New Jersey. How did her coaching you and just that leadership instill a lot of values inside of you? Well,
first of all, my mother, the reason I'm even running track is my mother wanted track for girls. It wasn't about us. They refused to put in a track program for girls, so she started one herself back in 1969. And my father was there with it, and then the boys joined, and that's how I got into track and field. So that just, the leadership quote. Look at both of my parents. They were both coaches. They both worked with me. They had different personalities. My mother was the really hard driving, pushing one. She was the one like, do it again. That was a terrible track meet. Let's practice right after the track. She was the one where my father was more measured. But as I got older and became successful and famous, my father was kind of like the advisor because he was the one with the level head. My mother was like, yeah, screw them, I'll get them back. So it was interesting dichotomy of how they both were.
Yes, sir. And I was going to ask, you have a family full of athletes. You were just talking about pushing you. Who was the best athlete growing up?
The best athlete in our family is Carol, my sister.
Carol.
Without question. If you ask any brother, anyone around, Carol's definitely the best athlete in our family.
Easily, I got you. And I want to ask about that because I know you and your sister Carol, y'all reached the realm of immortality when it comes to athletes with Olympics and national champions and brought in a host of medals within yourself. What does that relationship mean to you?
Carol, growing up, it's only 2 years apart, so we were like best friends. And Carol was interesting because she was such a good athlete and she was a big girl. And she was always tall. And matter of fact, she was as tall or taller than me for a lot of time, even up in my teens. And so she always played with me. And so she always played with the boys. And sometimes she got picked before me because she was big and strong. But we have an incredible relationship, even to this day. And think about it. I came here to Houston from New Jersey, and Carol followed me and came down here as well. It's like we were always going to be together. We've lived in the same town probably maybe only 5 or 6 years of our lives that we have not. So it's just been incredible. And one thing is that Carol is the school record holder, indoor and outdoor long jump, and I am on the male side. So those are our school, we still hold those school records. It's tell you that we're gonna be ever ranked, even here at the university.
That's perfect. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to bring that up. Y'all both came here to the University of Houston, working for a host of legendary coaches. Talk about what Tom Tellez and this staff did for you and your sister.
Well, the easiest way to describe what Tom did, he changed my life. When I was being recruited, I was talking to everyone. I wanted to jump longer than Bob Beamon, which was 29 feet. And at the time, I was only a 25-foot high school kid, 160 pounds, and I was skinny, matter of fact, 150. And so they all looked at me like I had 150 heads. Like, who's this kid talking about? And he was the only one that entertained the thought. And so when I came here, I respected him for that. And so without coming here, there's no way I would have achieved the success that I did. And so that's why I have such a love for him. But coming to this university, the same thing, because if I didn't come here and I didn't meet him, you wouldn't know me. I feel that strongly. So he did that, and the same thing. He was a perfect person for our personality. He was not the kind of guy that said, "Oh, it's going to be okay." No, he was very proud of his Mexican heritage, and he was the kind of guy that was do it this way, get it done, boom, boom, boom. We don't have time to work at that. Well, it wasn't a bad day. You're not working hard enough. Okay, I got to work harder. He was a perfect person for both of us, because we didn't want this coach is like, "Oh, it's going to be okay." No, it didn't. I sucked today. How do I get better? I don't want to feel like this again. I don't want to be bad next week. I want to be pushed. And he was phenomenal, the greatest coach of the 20th century in our sport. And I can't say enough about him. And so glad he's still alive and we can still experience him. And matter of fact, I've invited him to come out to watch practice, even at 91. Just come watch and see if I'm still doing okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of mentorship with it. And you obviously, from that, took into stardom, fame, everything, reached all your goals that you probably didn't even knew you had, right? I wanted to ask, how did you balance being on the track, had stardom right there, and then also becoming a celebrity off the track?
That's a really good question, because it's a weird thing, because when I was in high school, I was just a little kid from a small town, and then my senior year, I blew up track-wise, and I became number 5 in the world, and I'm just 17. And then I come to Houston. Now I'm kind of like known on campus a little bit, and known in the track world of college. And then I'm 18, my freshman year, and I make the Olympic team, still kind of the same. Then 19, I blew up, I break the world record, so all of a sudden I'm known around the world, I'm traveling, and I need security, and it just hit me like a brick, so hard. And what happens, you change. Michelle Obama said something about the White House, and I think it applies to stardom and fame, is that she said the White House doesn't change you, it reveals who you really are. And what it did, it revealed who I was, and hardworking, dedicated. But what happens, your life changes so much because you lose control of it. You can't go everywhere, you can't do everything. Even your friends are different, because some friends have to do things based around you all the time, because if we're going to a party and we get there and there's 65 people standing outside, I'm not staying in line. I can't do that. So we all decide, we're not going to the party. So it's there, or I'm going to get out and make sure I tell them so to get you in. There's so many things that happen when you become famous. And for me, to hit me at 19, my entire adult life has been a public figure. And so you then start dictating the things you do based on being a public figure. So I'm a different person because I became famous, without question. I'd be totally different if I never became famous. And this is what I was supposed to be, and I'm so happy. I would never change it. But just to let people know, you become a different person because your paranoia is different, the way you look at people is different, the way you have to interpret people. Is that person good for me, or are they trying to use me just so they can get somewhere? So that's kind of the whole thing I had to manage.
Got you. And it was crazy. At the top of the world, but you end your career and you decide, instead of just living in that, to start serving the youth, to start serving the generation after you. What went into that decision?
Well, what happened is that when I retired, I went to LA to work in television and movies and stuff, and I did some TV and I did some movies and did music and all of these things. And then I just got to my late 40s and I said, this isn't really, my heart isn't in it. I'm doing it, but my heart's not in it. So I started a foundation at that time when I lived there, and started working with kids. And then I came back here and I volunteered at U of H. And to be honest, it wasn't really anything conscious. It was something that was natural, and I didn't think of it, but it's kind of like my parents. So in reality, I've become my parents, which is a great thing because I admire them. But it wasn't anything conscious. I just felt comfortable working with kids and young people and helping. And a lot of that came from all the people that helped me. I needed a lot of people to help me along the way that said, hey, I care about you and I want to help you become a better person. And so I appreciate that.
Gotcha. So what I'm hearing is a lot of your upbringing, your root was what already was rooted into you, just naturally fell into your world of what you're calling.
Yeah, it did. And I, being a public figure when I was running track, my life was dictated by that. And then when I retired and I went to try to do other things and wanted to do other things, and that's that period. But growing up, it wasn't just my parents who were fabulous. I was from a small town named Willingboro, New Jersey. And my aunt and uncles lived in that town. We did family gatherings for Thanksgiving, Christmas. So there was a lot of that going on. My parents were pillars of the community. They were both teachers and coaches. So we knew a lot of the other families. And there was a lot of strong black culture. It was a segregated town. It was a Levitt town originally, and it was segregated until the late 1950s. So when we moved there, we were the 5th black family to move there. But by the time I'm growing up, there were all these important and powerful black people that I could look up to. My friends' parents, they were teachers and doctors, and one of my friends' parents worked for NSA. And so it's absolutely an incredible place to be. And because of that, and all these college graduates, a lot of them went to Tuskegee with my parents. They didn't run the town, but we were not being run. So you knew who the black people were. You knew Mr. Page, you knew my father and my mother, you knew my Aunt Freddie, you knew those people. They were pillars. And so it was a great environment to be in.
Now, I was gonna say, your impact for a lot of young black men, especially me, growing up running against CL Stars, I didn't run for you, but it was astounding. And I wanted to ask you, what impact, if you could choose, that you want to leave to the University of Houston, or just the world in general?
Well, I mean, that's 3 different spaces. I mean, right, the University of Houston, one of the things that I wanted to do when I was competing here, and I left school after 2 years athletically, is win a national team championship. We've had many individual championships. I've had them myself. We've had athletes as I'm there. That's my goal. And, oftentimes we get to a space in college, well, it's okay if we're top 10. No. My goal, number one goal, is to win a national championship. And so it is up to me to convince everyone here that we can get it done. From an athletic standpoint, beyond that, when I was in track and field, I fought for professionalism. I'm extremely frustrated the fact that so many of those things we won, it was me and Jackie Joyner and Michael Johnson and Edwin Moses, all of the things we fought for and many others are being retreated. They're being pulled back. And it's like, and we're talking about track and field as professional, it's not a professional sport. So I hope that in my time coaching, which is winding down, I'll be 65 in July, I'm not coaching forever, that the athletes get strong enough and realize it's easier to just go in and take the pain of the fight to get what you want than to sit back and deal with the pain and complain.
That's a big one. I wanted to ask you one more question to wrap it up. You did a lot of things, right? You've seen everything in the realm of track and field and sports in general, even as a celebrity. What would you say was more integral to you? Being the face, or garnering and generating the next faces?
It's broader, and I would say that from a track and field standpoint, the thing I'm most proud of is leaving it a professional sport, although it's not there now, but leaving it that way. The most impactful thing is the people I've been able to meet around the world, presidents and kings and queens, and even spending time at the president's house with Nelson Mandela. But I'm evolving now. I'm evolving as a person. I'm evolving more in my blackness. I'm evolving more in my cultural thoughts and ideas. I'm evolving spiritually. I'm looking at that differently. So I think that it's an evolution. Those are the things that I've done, and I'm proud of the fact that I went through my sport, and I feel like I left it better than it was before I came. I'm really happy the fact that I'm helping kids get degrees, because you go to college to make money. It's not just to get a degree; it's to make money, and I hope helping that. But I'm definitely in evolution, And as I watch and I see the country where it's going right now, with such vitriol coming from the White House and the foolishness that we're having to deal with, that's changing me, because I'm looking at a country that I grew up in and that my parents fought for that we're just thinking it's okay to go right back to. And we have a racist, ridiculous president that supports that. So it's going to always evolve. And we have to get tougher and be more resolved. And I think that this is what's great about the University of Houston. It is a diverse, incredible place with language and culture and people, and everyone comes together. And when I walk this campus, there's a sense of pride in that we are one of the universities that have diversity, that have the culture, that in a city that's diverse, and it accepts everyone. And if you want to be a part of that future, then you stay here. If you don't want to be, then you leave. And I love that about this university. And I love when I talk about it, I can talk about things that I'm proud of. And that anyone on this campus can be proud of, from the president all the way down to the sports and the coaches. And so that's the best part. What I hope I leave is everyone goes through their life, they think of themselves as someone that leaves something better at any phase of their life that they can do it. And it's better because you moved through it. And that's what I hope that I did for Taft.
Yes, sir. Well, we all listening, we're following you, and hopefully, with your impact and the platform you have, we can continue to change and evolve with you. And that's all we have time for. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is CoogTV, and this is another Cougar Spotlight. I want to just say, go Cougars.